So Gerald and Charlie go to talk to Miss Compass, the math teacher. Several students were running around with office supplies. I heard their names were Suja, Dominic, Rhonda, and Nino, said Miss Compass. A girl came in to borrow a calculator, the teacher continued. She had a box of supplies and wanted to see how much they were worth altogether. I didn't have a calculator, but I helped her do the math. It was easy when the price for one item was $2.50. You just multiply that by how many items were in the box. So let's take a minute and figure out which thing that would be. So we have one price is $2.50, and the first item is 12. So we're going to first multiply that $2.50 by 12, and we get 30. And if that's going to be our answer, but just in case it wasn't, we would say 250 and multiply it by 9. And then we would take 250 and multiply it by the 6 calligraphy pens. And then 250 and multiply it by the 4 watercolor sets. Whoops. Okay, so then we can see that only this particular box, the 250 times the 12, is a number that's up here. So 250 had to have been times 12, so that we know that the pencils were $30. And we are going to put an O here, and then, whoops, let me just make it capital so it shows up. And we're going to put X's for the rest of the row because pencils won't be any other price, and X's for the rest of that column because nothing else will cost $30. And we know it was pencils, remember, because there was 12. So 250 times 12 gave us the 30. And another piece of information we know there is that it was a girl. So whoever had the box worth $30 was not a boy. So it wasn't Dominic and it wasn't Nino. And then we can take that information to the pencil column. So we know that it wasn't Dominic and it wasn't Nino. Miss Compass, about to close her door, paused to remember one more thing. I heard Nino mention he didn't have the box of supplies with the cheapest total value. So that means Nino was not carrying the cheapest box that had a total value of $13.50. Then later on, Gerald and Charlie go to Mrs. Buble. She tells them some other things. The box of markers was not carried by a girl. So the markers was not a girl. So it wasn't Suja and it wasn't Rhonda. And the person carrying the watercolor set asked me how much one of the sets would cost. I told her one set was $5.50. So now we're going to do the same thing for watercolors. For $5.50, we know it doesn't go with the pencils since we've already figured that out. So now we're going to try it with 9 dry erase markers. And that's $49.50. We'll try $5.50 with the 6 pens. That's $33. And we'll try $5.50 with the 4 watercolor sets. And that's $22. So we do know we have a column with 22. And that had to be the watercolor. Because one set was $5.50. And when you multiply that by 4, you get 22. So we'll put a 0, an O there. And X for the rest of that row. And X for the rest of that column, since only the watercolors were $22. And another piece of information that you could overlook easily is that I told her one set was $5.50. So we know the person with the watercolors was the girl. So it wasn't Nino and it wasn't Dominic. And then staying here in watercolor, we know it was a girl, so it wasn't Nino and it wasn't Dominic.